Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Real Talk with Coach Sherri. And today I am in Richmond, Virginia, on the campus of VCU Hospital. The last time I've been here was August 30th, 2010. That was the day that my mother passed away. And I didn't realize that I hadn't actually been on the campus or in the hospital since the passing of my mother until I got here. And so many emotions started to overcome me. I mean, I was trying to be extremely aware of what was going on with me, like my feelings, and I couldn't really pinpoint what I was feeling. I know that my chest started to get tight, my breathing started to get a little more shallow, and I was feeling very emotional. Actually, right behind me is the Confederate White House. Hopefully you can see that. It's actually nestled in between the buildings of the hospital, as you can see. But this is like a little garden area that I'm sitting in. And when I was here with my mom, and we've been here many times during her life with ALS. The longest stint was 6 weeks straight. I actually lived in this hospital for 6 weeks with my mother. And when I say I lived in the hospital, I don't mean that in the evenings I went to a hotel or I went home. I literally stayed in the room, ICU, with my mother every day for 6 weeks. And I started to look at this hospital as my home. You know, when visitors would come and they would call, I would greet them in the lobby area as if it was my home, because that's basically what it turned into for those 6 weeks. And, you know, then we did shorter stints, like 2 weeks. And then her final stay here, we were here for 1 week. There's a lot of history here in Richmond. Richmond's interesting, but I just wanted to point that out, that building behind me was the Confederate White House. But I'm here today in support of my cousin. My cousin's mother is here. She had a massive stroke, and 3 weeks ago she had a mild heart attack. And it was important for me to come and support her children as well as her. Her children were like my brothers and sisters growing up. They lived in Virginia, I lived in New Jersey, but every summer we would see each other and spend time together, and they're all my age. She has 5 children and 21 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren that I know of. But the mother, the matriarch, is now in the hospital. And when I was caring for my mother, her children, my cousins, were so supportive to me. I mean, there wasn't a lot that really anyone could help me with, but what they could help me with, they did. All they were a phone call away, especially with my children. Times when my husband and I had to do something together with my mother, all I had to do was call my cousin, her daughter, who's really, really close with me, and say, please, can you come get the kids, or can we drop the kids off? And she was on it. Her and her husband had 4 children, 3 of whom are my children's ages. And so it always worked out in that way. So it was really important for me to come here and lay eyes on her mother. Her dad passed away a few years ago. And, you know, when he was at Duke Hospital, I made sure to go see him on his last stay at the hospital. But it was important for me to lay eyes on her mother, and for her mother to know how much I love her and respect her, and especially the love that she's always shown for her family and for others. You know, I think that's really important. Funerals are good, I guess, to, you know, for the ones that are left, to show them that they are still supported. But for the living, I think if you know someone who is ill, really try and go and see them and let them know. I actually wrote it out. Her daughter started a book, an encouragement book for her mom. So all the visitors that's coming through, she's asking them to write something special and encouraging for her mom, so that, you know, someone can read it to her daily, and she knows how many lives she's touched and how many people are in her corner rooting her on. But also, I just wanted to share with you this. Her daughter, the one who has children, my children's ages, I remember when my mom first really had a really bad bout regarding ALS, and that's when she was in the hospital for the first time for those 6 weeks. And when I was with her, I was really concerned about the legalities, making sure that what she needed, she could get, what she needed, I could get, just trying to make sure that her care was going to be on point when she left the hospital. It was really, really challenging, and I'll do other posts about that. I definitely blogged about it in my ALS Caregiver WordPress blog. But I remember when I came back, because I did go home for a couple of days because my son graduated from the 5th grade, and I came back to Virginia with my kids thinking my older brother was going to come back to Virginia to care for my mother, and he went to New Jersey to close out his house. And my kids were playing, my cousin's kids were over playing, they were all having a great time, and my brother calls me and out of nowhere tells me he can't do this. He said, "Sherri, I won't be able to come back there to care for our mother." And I don't know if he expected me to beg him to, or what he expected my emotions, but I'm not here to have someone do what they don't want to do. So I just had to go into a mode of I had to do what I had to do. So I hung up the phone with him, called my husband, let him know what the new situation was going to be, and my husband was fully 100% supportive of whatever the decisions that we had to make were. And I just called up my cousin and I said, "Can you please come over and get the kids? I have to go back to the hospital to learn exactly what I need to do to take care of my mother." And that's what she did. And for the time that I was my mother's primary caregiver, that cousin in particular was there with me 100%, whatever I needed, her and her entire family. And I have so much respect and love for her for that. I drove almost 5 hours to get here today, and I'm on my way back to Charlotte. But it was important for me to be here to support her in any way that I can, the way that she did for me. I won't be able to do as much as she did because we are so far apart now, but whenever I can, I will definitely do that. That is really important, to know who's in your corner, and to not only have them in your corner, but for you to be in their corner too. So everyone, it is a nice day. Actually, I don't even have a coat on, but I'm getting ready to hit the road to go and burn up that highway. My eyes are puffy because I was crying. The minute I walked into her mother's room, I just started crying because it just brought back such a flood of memories of when I was in the hospital with my mother, looking at all the machines and seeing her mom laying there. It just really touched my heart and my soul. But it's going to be all right. It's going to be good. God's will be done. So everyone, this has been Real Talk with Coach Sherri. If you've received a nugget, or if this story resonated with you in any way, please be sure to like. If you know of someone who may need to hear this post that I've done, please share it with them. And subscribe, please. And I appreciate all the new subscribers as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until we speak again, stay safe.